Shalom Chaim the Galilean, Sea of Galilee behind me. People are talking about the Euphrates River a lot lately because it's drying up, historic lows. People are saying, is this some sort of sign of the end times? And I wanted to touch on it briefly. There is a famous river, River Euphrates, one of the four rivers that flowed from the Garden of Eden, according to Genesis chapter 2, verse 14. It's the fourth river, right? It's the fourth river after the Pishon, the Gihon, and the Tigris, flowing from the river that flows out of the Garden of Eden. So there's one river out of the garden, makes four rivers. That's pre-flood. After the flood, there's another river called Euphrates. Is it the same one? The river modern day, rises in Turkey, and it flows throughout southeast across Syria and through Iraq, and it's formed by the confluence of the Curacao and Murat rivers in the Armenian highlands. I was there kind of a long time ago. The Euphrates descends between the major ranges of the Taurus Mountains to the Syrian plateau and through Iraq. The watershed of the river Euphrates lies within the boundaries of the present-day states of Syria, Turkey, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. Even in the Quran, Muhammad says, the end, the hour will not come to pass before the river Euphrates dries up to unveil the mountain of gold, which people will fight 99 out of every 100. They will die 99 out of every 100, leaving one person left. And that one person will say, maybe I'm the only one remaining alive. The mountain of gold. And of course, you go to Genesis 15, verse 18. On that day, the Lord made a covenant with Avram, before his name was Abraham. To your offspring, I will give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river in Egypt to the Euphrates. And so that is the promise of the greater Israel that we haven't inherited all the way down to the river of Egypt and up to the Euphrates yet. And so right now it's at a very low place, this Euphrates River. The water level at the Tabqa Dam of the Euphrates River hasn't been running for the past 3 weeks, causing multiple crises throughout the whole region. Primary water source for the northeast Syrian agricultural zone has been non-functional since June 23, impacting close to 1 million residents. The dwindling water resources threatens to worsen food insecurity in Syria, creating pressure that could contribute to new waves of refugees leaving Syria. Turkey is reportedly releasing sewage into the river, trying to get the levels up. Coupled with the lowered water levels leading to the formation of stagnant pools where algae is thriving, it's causing a spike in waterborne diseases all throughout the region. At 1,700 miles, the Euphrates is the longest and one of the most historically important rivers in Western Asia. The Tabqa Dam, located 25 miles upstream from Raqqa, is the largest dam in Syria. Its construction led to the creation of the Lake Assad, Syria's largest water reserve. Researchers indicate that the salinity of the Euphrates River water has increased considerably since the construction of the dam. Turkey provides over 98% of the Euphrates discharge and about 50% of the Tigris River discharge. The remaining flow of the Tigris comes from Iraq, about 40%, and from Iran, another 10%. Together, the Tigris, the Euphrates, and their tributaries serve as water sources for about 90 million people. 90 million people got to drink from this water. Iraq's Ministry of Water Resources has predicted that unless urgent action is taken, the country's two main rivers will be dry by 2040. When the flow of the Euphrates was reduced in 1974 to fill the lake behind the dam, a dispute broke out between Syria and Iraq, which is downstream, that was settled by an intervention from Saudi Arabia and the Soviet Union. In 1987, Turkey signed an agreement with Syria that mandates 500 cubic meters of water per second, which Syria subsequently divides with Iraq. Since 2011, Syria has been engaged in a civil war, and in recent years, Turkey has taken advantage of this and unilaterally reneged on these obligations, pulling more water from the Euphrates than agreed upon. Iraq and Turkey have agreed to establish a permanent joint committee to resolve the water-related dispute between the two countries. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan said on the 22nd of August. In addition, the region has been plagued by conflicts with the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. Together, the Tigris and the Euphrates make up an ancient Mesopotamian fertile crescent, which is mentioned in the Bible as one of the four rivers that issues forth from the Garden of Eden. I just read that earlier. It's also cited that the eastern border of the land was given to Abraham in the covenant that I read. This is your land. Jacob crossed over the Euphrates when he fled from Esau, crossing the river again when his family finally returned. Genesis 31. This is your land. Jacob crossed over the Euphrates when he fled from Esau, crossing the river again when his family finally returned. Genesis 31, verse 21. in the Bible. The Euphrates is sometimes referred to simply as the river in Joshua chapter 24, verse 3, and Ezra chapter 4, verse 10, when they're making Aliyah. The river also plays a major role in biblical prophecy. Isaiah promised that God would bring back the Jewish people from the Euphrates to the Wadi of Egypt in Isaiah 27, verse 12. Prophet Jeremiah describes how the waters of Babylon, the region including Syria and Iraq, would dry up as a punishment for their idolatrous practices, the devastation being so complete as to render one region, formerly called the so-called Fertile Crescent, uninhabitable. A drought against its waters, so they will be dried up. It is a land of idols. They are besotted by their dread images. Assuredly, wildcats and hyenas will dwell there. Ostriches will dwell there, and it will never more be settled nor inhabited throughout the ages. That's Jeremiah 50, verse 38 through 39. That hasn't happened yet. So, Euphrates' role in the end times is cited in Islam and Christianity. The Quran states that the Mahdi, the Messiah, will come not before the river dries up and unveiling the mountain of gold. In the book of Revelation, it's prophesied in the near future, the Potmos Euphrates, or breaking forth like water, of the Middle East will dry up in preparation for the battle of Armageddon. In Apocalypse, described by John, 4 angels are bound in the Euphrates. When the end is near, they will be released. That's in Revelation chapter 9, verse 11 through 15. I'll read it. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, or Avadon, which in the Greek tongue is Apollyon. One woe is past, and behold, there come 2 more woes hereafter. The 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying, the 6th angel, which had a trumpet, loose the 4 winds, which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the 6th angel, which had a trumpet, loose the 4 angels, which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the 3rd part of men, 1/3 of the earth. Now, I don't know if it's the same angel as you find in Revelation chapter 7, verse 1 through 3, because there's 4 angels you see there. These 4 angels, he said, I see in Revelation chapter 7, I saw 4 angels, and these 4 angels were standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the 4 winds should not blow. Now, we know the 4 winds are good. There are 4 currents that planes fly on some of these, but 4 air currents. But there's 4 spiritual winds which gather the Jewish people home, and we're working with Aliyah and inspiring the nations to be part of this mystical process of returning the Jewish people home. But now you have the 4 winds being blocked, that they should not blow on the earth, neither on the sea nor on any tree. What does that mean? And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. See, that's not a good thing when you hold back the 4 winds. And he says, don't hurt the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of God on their foreheads. So this holding back of the 4 winds is very bad. But what happened is they go and they seal 12,000 of each of the 12 tribes of Israel: Manasseh, Issachar, Zebulun, Judah. And of course, mythology also has something similar. 4 winds, but they're the 4 chief Anemoi, Boreas. Achillo in the Roman mythology is the north wind, the bringer of cold winter air. Zephyrus, which is Favonius in Latin, is the west wind, bringer of light spring and early summer breezes. The 4 main seasons: summer, winter, autumn, fall, and spring. And the bringer of storms is Auster, or Notus, or Auster in Latin, is the south wind, the bringer of storms. And Urus is the southeast wind, right? So you have this parable of 4 angels, right? And that's like that stand the book of parables. In the second book of the parables, chapter I forgot which chapter, names 4 angels accompanying the Ancient of Days, standing before the Lord of Spirits. The voices of those upon the 4 sides magnifying the Lord of Glory. That's Michael, the Archangel, Raphael, Archangel, Gabriel, Archangel, and Phanuel. I just read the book even not that long ago, and it lists these angels. In Revelation 16, verse 12, another angel will dry up the river, make way for the kings of the east, that the way might be prepared. Revelation 16, verse 12. The Bible describes that the lost tribes of Israel who are hidden beyond the Euphrates will return to the land of Israel, while in another place, it stated the lost tribes live across the Euphrates until the end times. Are we in the end times? This is the question. The sons of Manasseh are coming back from over there in North India. Manipur, Mizoram, lost tribes are returning from Ethiopia, and so on. And so you have from all of Kaifeng, the Lamba tribe, so on and so forth, and the Beta Israel, the Beta Avraham. And so these lost tribes are returning. What season are we living in? What does the Euphrates have to do with it? I want you to write me in the comments your thoughts concerning this.